The beginning. My name is KRL of the Vorthan Legion, and I once believed humans were reckless, fragile creatures, loud, emotional, and far too attached to ideals that had no place on the battlefield. That was before the Siege of Eidolon Prime. That was before I saw what they truly were. The siege, the war against the Krith Empire, had already lasted 12 cycles. Worlds burned, fleets shattered, when the enemy descended upon Eidolon Prime, the last major stronghold before the core worlds. Every allied species sent troops. The humans sent a single battalion. Just one. We laughed at them. Even I did. They were outnumbered 100 to 1. Their equipment outdated. Their armor scratched and dented from a dozen other wars. But when the first Krith ships entered orbit, the humans didn't retreat. They dug in. The defense. I was assigned to 3rd Human Infantry, under the command of Captain Elias Ward. He wasn't tall or imposing. Just quiet, focused. He wore no medals, only a patch on his shoulder that read, "We hold the line." When the bombardment began, Ward gave no speeches, no orders to inspire us. He simply said, "They are coming. Don't let them pass." And then he took his place beside us, rifle in hand, eyes calm, waiting. The first wave. The Krith came like a storm, claws tearing through concrete, plasma fire raining from the sky. We fired until our weapons overheated. Bodies fell around us. And still, the humans fought. When one's rifle broke, he used a sidearm. When that ran dry, he grabbed a blade. When the blade shattered, he used his fists. They refused to die quietly. "Keep firing." Ward shouted, "If you're breathing, you're fighting." Even as the Krith overran the trenches, the humans formed walls with their bodies, dragging wounded soldiers to safety while returning fire. By dawn, half of them were dead, but the line hadn't moved an inch. The second day, the enemy changed tactics. Orbital bombardment, gas attacks, biological drones. It didn't matter. The humans adapted. They fought without food, without sleep, with wounds that would have killed any of us. I remember one of them, a medic named Riley, sprinting through fire to save a dying Krith defector. When I asked her why, she said, "Because he stopped shooting at us." That's enough. I didn't understand it then. The collapse. On the 3rd day, the sky turned red. The Krith fleet had broken the orbital blockade. Their main army was descending. Command ordered a retreat. The line was lost. But Captain Ward refused. "Eidolon falls. The core burns," he said. "We hold until reinforcements arrive, or we don't hold at all." The humans stayed. And I, shamed by their resolve, stayed with them. The last stand. By nightfall, the Krith surrounded us completely. I remember the heat, the smoke, the screams. I remember thinking, this is the end. Then Ward climbed the barricade, covered in blood and ash, and raised his rifle. "If this is where we die," he said quietly, "then let them remember who killed them." The humans roared, and for the next 6 hours, they fought like something more than mortal. They became machines of willpower and defiance. Every human who fell was replaced by another, crawling from the mud to take up the fight. When ammunition ran out, they charged with blades. When blades broke, they used bare hands. When hands failed, they used their teeth. And somehow, they won. The aftermath. When reinforcement arrived 2 days later, they found us standing among the ruins. The Krith army was gone, not retreated, but destroyed. Of the original human battalion, only 27 survived. Ward was one of them. Barely. When medics tried to lift him onto a stretcher, he waved them off. "We've got work to do," he said. "Start rebuilding the line." Even half dead, the man was thinking of defense. The legend, Eidolon Prime, became a symbol, the place where humans turned the tide. The galaxy called it a miracle. We who were there called it something else. Humanity, because I finally understood they don't fight for glory or conquest or even survival. They fight for each other, for the ones beside them, for the idea that no matter how dark it gets, someone will always stand up and say, "Not today." The reflection. Now, decades later, I still see their faces in my dreams. The laughter, the pain, the impossible courage. And every time new recruits ask me what it was like to fight beside humans, I tell them the truth. You don't fight beside humans. You witness them. Because when they rise together, you don't see soldiers. You see legends being born. The legacy, Eidolon Prime, still stands. The line that humans held is now a memorial, a quiet stretch of scorched earth marked by the words they lived by. We hold the line. Every Allied soldier knows that phrase now. Every army trains with it. And every time the galaxy begins to forget what courage looks like, someone whispers it again. Because the day I fought beside humans, I didn't just survive a battle. I witnessed the birth of a story that would never die. A story written in blood, courage, and the unbreakable will of humanity.